Hello everybody, welcome to Zandvoort for the third round of the GNR Racing Proto-GT Sprint Series here this season. Round number 3 taking us to one of the more unusual multi-class racing venues. Unusual because in this series, of course, we've got GTPs, LMP2s and 2 classes of GT3s out there all at the same time. Lap times round here well below 90 seconds for the fastest of those prototypes, and a very, very difficult racetrack indeed. We'll see how tonight goes, certainly, especially with that multi-class traffic, which is not seen very often around here at Zandvoort. Myself and Louis James Profit going to be taking you through the action here tonight. And look at the twists and turns around this venue here, James. It's very narrow as well. So multi-class racing around here going to be very interesting to watch indeed, because as I say, you do not see this too often, and that makes this series so interesting, the amount of unusual racetracks we have on this schedule.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking forward to this. Do you know why? Because Hugen Housepot, or Turn 4, I think it is with the bank in, I'm interested to see how the GTPs are going to handle that one with the GT3s. That's going to be my main flashpoint, I think, this evening to have a look at, because I've got a funny feeling there's going to be a good few issues in there. But I'm really looking forward to this. We've got 30 seconds of qualifying left. Everybody's done their laps. Just enough time to do the scores.
Yep, and look at the top 5 for each of the classes. So Brandon Smith and Magnus Hawkbo are the top of the tree at the moment. They're tied first. That's why the points are laid out like that. Ian Knox and Chad Henson are tied third. Sam Cougar then in 5th on his own. This, by the way, is including 1 drop rounds, and obviously we've only had 2 rounds so far, so it is going to be tied in a lot of places. Andy Pratt is leading in the LMP2s pretty comfortably in front of Jeff Manning and Vegard Johansson, who are both in 2nd, and Dave Van Dam and Philip Grussing are both in 3rd. Aldo Secklin and Logan Magnus are leading the way in the GT3 Pro, even though Secklin wasn't even here last time out. Matt Stewart is in 3rd ahead of Brandon Masiewski, Kason Koya and Jay Becker rounding out the top 5. Kellett Parsons leading on his own in GT3 AM, ahead of Garrett Kinney and Curtis Matthewson. Randy Olivo and Blake Vandergrift then rounding out the field. We've got a full pace lap, thankfully, so I can bring you through the grid properly this time. Ian Knox is taken the pole by more than 3/10 this time round in front of Brandon Smith, with Chad Henson and Magnus Hawkbo next on row 2. Sam Hager and Stuart Brighton then on row 3 in front of Stephen Laird, who rounds out the GTPs. In LMP2, Andy Pratt's taken pole, and his brilliant start to the season continues. Tom Weston and Dan Turner round out the top 10 overall. Philip Gressing and Gert-Jan Polman are next in front of Javi Sierra and Park Anquist. Ian Coates and Alex Bell round out the prototype field. In GT3 Pro, it is Matt Stewart leading the way in front of Logan Magnus, who's tied in the championship lead, of course, with Aldo Secklin. Caton Collier's next in front of the AM pole sitter Caleb Parsons, who's the also points leader in the AMs. Garrett Kinney's next ahead of Jay Becker, who is then in 4th place in that class, followed by Chris London, back to the AMs, then back to the pros for the final time, Josh Taylor. Then the rest of them all AMs back here, Randy Olivo, Rhett Noonan, Damien Hayward, Chase Sawyer and Reece Bartlett, rounding out the 29 drivers in this field. And they're pretty evenly spread as well across this field, which is pretty good to see. No Aldo Secklin in the GT3 Pro class, in a rather small GT3 Pro class, in fact, but most of the other big names are indeed here. Brandon Smith on the front row as the current tied championship leader, with Magnus Hawkbo as well in the GTPs, where most of the big names are as well. We've got 7 GTPs this time round, and a class that's been a little bit lacking on occasion so far this season, but people have turned out for Zandvoort in these GTPs, because I suspect it's going to be an exciting circuit to drive, I think, this one, with the downforce that a prototype gives these guys.
Yeah, definitely going to be, and I think you are right. There's a lot of people in chat having a good old chinwag. Come on, Dave, says Fisco, and then realise Dave is at a wedding getting drunk. So, yeah, he clearly is not here as well. But Fiscals and the Cuddles has asked the question, is it dry? It is, yes. So we don't have any chance of rain at the moment. 0%, apparently, chance of getting any rain. But you know, hopefully it will stay dry, but it is Zandvoort. Who knows how this is going to work out. I reckon the flashpoint is going to be here, coming up through this banking, through this tight section here, Ewan. And I've got a funny feeling once they hit the banking, it's going to make it even more interesting.
So sort of a pinch point out of turn 1 into turn 2 and then 3, which is much steeper than it used to be. So the Formula 1 Dutch Grand Prix comes here again these days. after a long time away. Was it 35 years away, 36 years away before we came back here in 2021, and the changes that have sort of facilitated that, unfortunately, I think, have spoiled this circuit a little bit for other cars other than F1. I think F1's not terrible around here, but it's made, unfortunately, some of the other racing a little bit worse, which is not a great thing, but there you are. I want to be on the F1 calendar, I suppose. I think you're probably right about the first sector being that real pinch point here, but you've got to remember that these fields are split into classes. So the GTPs will be miles in front of the LMP2s, then it'll be the GT3s, which will be by far the busiest, as 13 of the 29 in the entire field will be getting underway all at once. So if any class is going to have trouble, it is going to be the GT3s, because there's so many of them. Actually, when we see these GTP and LMP2 starts, they are fairly quiet in comparison.
Yeah, that's the mean. GTPs normally just motor off and they have their own little bit of a shindig going on, and they motor away and then they start opening up a massive gap. Don't get me wrong, we're leaving massive gaps as it is. You can see on the right-hand side, the track map there, the GTPs are coming into, I believe that's turn 9 at the moment, Box 9. And the LMP2s are just going around Shivlak. And then the GT3s are a little bit further back than that. They've only not long just cleared the banking and start heading on down to Shivlak. So there's quite a big old gap, so which means the GTPs will catch them quite quickly. But I just wonder how they're going to cope with turn 1 and that run down into 4. I think that, for me, is going to be the most interesting part. You've also got the run where the GTPs are coming down now as well. This coming out of the right hand, the left hand, I should say, of turn 10, and then the run down into Heinz-Ernsbach, which is, I believe, 11 and 12, which is the right-left. That's going to be very tight. Keep an eye out on there for traffic on that one, because I think that's going to be very interesting indeed. I think this overall is going to be a very interesting race, and I believe the winner will come, Ewan, from anybody who can keep the car on track and manage traffic.
That's going to be two of the big keys here tonight. It's going to be a real key this season. So far we've had Watkins Glen and Monza, which are normal multi-class racing circuits. But after this we've got Adelaide, Kota, Magny-Cours, Indianapolis. All circuits that are not entirely used to multi-class racing, although you do see it sometimes. Multi-class racing in the real world, I don't believe it's happened here since 2016, when they were at the third and final edition of the 12 Hours of Zandvoort. But that was a GT/touring car sort of race. The GT3s were the top class in those races. You didn't see prototypes back in those days, and you didn't see GTPs. Certainly they didn't exist in 2016, of course, at this GTP class. Of course, the track itself has gone through changes in the meantime as well to give us what we have here today. This is going to be a voyage of discovery in the GNR series here tonight, as Ian Knox gets the field underway and was not waiting around. Pretty much as soon as the pace car pulled in, he was off on his way in towards turn number 1. Inside line for Henson as well, who might well take second place away from Brandon Smith when the Cadillac struck on the outside, and he has been shuffled back there into third position. All 7 of the GTPs getting underway cleanly. There goes Hookbud down the inside of his championship rival, but Brandon Smith able to hold on at least to that position for the moment and get a decent run through the S's now. Now a bit of a wait for Andy Pratt as he gets the LMP2s underway now for the first time of asking. Despite being on the pole, though, he will start from the outside, so he will need a rather good launch off of the line, and he's certainly got one at the expense there of Tom Weston alongside him, who is on the inside in the red there. Pratt rather catching everybody else off guard, really, in towards turn number 1. 9 LMP2s racing in towards turn 1 at the same time. They also get through turn 1 cleanly as well, and not far behind, the GT3s will try and do the same. Matt Stewart in control of the field here, another Australian taking a pole position here tonight.
Oh, it's a send.
That is a send. Big send from one of the McLarens. It looks like Chris London, who's looking to try and take the class lead there, and some overall positions as well. But it's all single filed out. It's all clean through the opening corners. Little bit of contact between a couple of Aston Martins, but very clean start from everybody.
Yeah, that's Jay Becker and Garrett Kinney there as well. Kinney in behind Becker at the moment. Great start, though, from Ian Knox. Motored away, left him at the start. Done and done. Magnus Holbrook and Brandon Smith. Magnus' problem on lap number 1 wasn't the fact that he was up alongside Brandon Smith. It's the fact that he took the inside line into 4, which was the banking. Can't do it. Doesn't work. Don't do it. It's as easy as that. You need to run that higher line to make that work. He's so much lower. And watch Smith just come off the corner and say, thanks very much and see you later. There you go.
He's trying to keep with him. He's trying to stay with him with that extra speed that Smith has gotten. Hookbud goes for a spin. He is, of course, the closest challenger to Brandon Smith since they both won one race out of the first two. And unfortunately for Hawkbot, he goes around and is at the back of the pack, might even have a little bit of damage. Don't forget, in this series, you do need to make a pit stop at some point during the day. We'll see when that comes for Hawkbot. He'll be looking forward to it because of that damage that he might just have picked up now.
Yeah, it's interesting as well. I want to have a look back at something very quickly, but I just want to see if he wraps up this turn one. He did, but he didn't wrap up something on lap number one that caused just Tom Weston to drop all the way down the field to the back end of the LMP2s. So oh no, didn't give them tyres time. No! Oh. And unfortunately for Tom Weston, he did that and drops down the field. Nice little battle in the GT3s as well. Oh, no, there ain't. There was. Reece Bartlett, I don't know what happened to Jay Becker, but Becker's given himself some drama. Ian Coates and Weston are another coming together, but this is what happened to Becker going down into one.
And there's a McLaren there with severe damage here. Oh, my goodness me. That's a big dive from an Aston, although it wasn't too unreasonable. There's a slight bit of contact. That's very unfortunate. I think it's Olivo. Randy Olivo, who got straight into the back of whoever that was slowing there. Still going at a decent speed, though. Can that be right? It's only 3 McLarens in the field. It's certainly not Matt Stewart who's leading. I don't think it's Chris London either. But how is he still... Oh, no, he's not really going that quickly. That's why he is losing places. There goes down the inside Damien Hayward in the Aston Martin straight through. By the way, Magnus Hogbo is into pit lane. I have a feeling Olivo's going to join him in a moment. No? Did this not come up? Didn't this come up in... No, it didn't. Okay.
And that's the thing now for the marbles there. They will play a part when they're left over from quali. So he's just got to be careful that they don't hit them, because there is a lot of that left over, which I was surprised about when they were doing the pace lap. I thought he might have cleared them all, but no, they brought it, they continued it on. Marbles left on from the qualifying onto the lap, and now they're all still on the racetrack. So they've got to be careful of the marbles. People going off as well, which is going to make it even more interesting. But this is Hayward, Kinney and Taylor.
I guess the... Oh dear. Hayward was super close there to, is that, yeah, that is Kinney. 4-class position there in the 2 Aston Martins. That's for 3rd.
They're coming through.
In the
Look.
AM class. And yeah, the GTPs are coming through there. And that is Knox just in front of Henson in the lead. Jay Becker, by the way, has got a meatball here. So maybe already trouble with multi-class traffic there. As in the first 5 minutes, these GTPs have already caught up to the GT3s, who were really quite a long way behind when they were getting to their stop. And of course, we have split starts here, which means that that does generally happen. I guess if the setting in sim is to carry over track state or whatever it's called. He's not hit him quite. He got very close. Oh, Knox is... well, this is just... he's not communicating very well with the Lamborghini. Now he's finally got down the inside. And now Henson's right in behind him here. It's probably better for... Well, it would have been better for Brandon Smith. He was right in the good position there. But now he is in a position he has to go 3 wide. Past them both there through the final turn. That was quite something. Henson's just pushing Knox here. Doesn't want to punish him in towards turn 1 and stays behind him this time.
I am shocked. Excuse me. Sorry, I had a mouthful of water.
Oh, so shocked.
So shocked. Coughing. I had a mouthful of water when you stopped. I apologise. What was I going? Right, so Knoxie basically struggled to get through the traffic. Henson and Smith have now closed on. So we're in for a 3-car fight. And it's going to be how Henson is going to react to this, because Knoxie gets there first and makes the move. If Henson can't get through like that, he's going to be in trouble. So Henson, in a way, is on that sort of, oh my God, I need to go through, I need to go through, I need to go through. But at the same time, he cannot rush this, because there is a little bit more traffic to come yet, and they've got to be careful here. But Chad Henson is the one that's on the back foot at the moment, because he's stuck in the middle. Smith can pick his moment. Knoxie can pick his moments. Henson's either got to go with Knox, or he's got to wait and then hope that Brandon Smith doesn't go after him. Very tricky situation for Chad Henson.
Yeah, it is difficult to be in the middle here, and normally you'd say, well, lots of traffic around, surely that will present an opportunity to get past, but I think this circuit's so narrow that it might actually not help when there's so many around getting in the way. Might not actually help trying to make a move. And anyway, in towards turn 1 on the last lap, he made an obvious decision not to make a pass for whatever reason. I don't really know why, to be honest. I thought that was as good a chance as any, but he decided against it, clearly. As in towards turn 1 again, the traffic is everywhere because they're now coming through the GT3 Pros. For the most part, you've got to make sure they can see you come in here. That was a little bit dicey from Henson, but he is able to get through. And here comes Brandon Smith. That was a good run. He's very good through turn 3 there is Smith, at staying higher than the others and getting there for through. Oh, there's contact there. Over the top through the S's, and Smith's gone. The championship leader, the other championship leader, is also having trouble now. He spins into the gravel, coming through turn 7, and Brandon Smith is going to drop right the way down. He's lucky that the others are so far behind him. He's waiting for a spot to get back, and he cannot find a place to rejoin now. He's finally going to get back going, down in 6th. The 2 championship leaders who are tied at the top are in last and second last.
Oh, massive from Brandon Smith there. I think he caught the curb at the top of the hill. Going on he tries to go on the inside, and then watch, he comes out of the corner and then hits the curb there, and it unsettles the car, and unfortunately round he goes. He took too much, and the bounce just bounced him up, and he had no control over that car at all, and then he just had to sit. He was trying to come down this part, I don't know why I'm pointing, you can't see, but down the left hand side of the race circuit here, but he just couldn't get it back close. Sorry, I was pointing at the screen and nobody could see me, but he's trying to get it down here because he knows the racing line's inside that, and he can get it running. Watch, there you go, he runs round the outside because he knows he can, but he couldn't get the car rotated, which means he was stuck there. Stuart Britton has also got a meatball. We'll have a look back at that in a minute. But you see the gravel, more and more and more is coming onto the racetrack. That's going to leave that outside line slippier than Bambi on ice, mate. I can tell you that much. They're going to have to be so careful. Look, it's all there, all the way around that corner. Oh, dudes, I don't want to be on that gravel. That gravel is going to be horrendous.
Yeah, it's a really, it's a thing around here, isn't it, at Zandvoort, where the gravel gets brought onto the circuit. It happens all the time. It's really, really difficult to deal with, really. I mean, the good thing for all these drivers is that there's nearly 30 of them running around quite a short lap. So actually, they'll probably clear a racing line quite quickly. As you can see, it's happened through here already. Even there's a lot of gravel on the actual outside of the corner, but they can clear a racing line quite quickly. It's when you're actually trying to make a move it gets a little bit more difficult, because you've got to go offline, obviously, and that's where all the gravel is once it's all been cleared away. So it does make it very difficult. Brighton's got a black flag, by the way, after it's serving his meatball, as says Jay Becker. We go back to Dan Turner here, fighting for second place in LMP2 behind Andy Pratt, who's having another great race at the front right now. Yeah,
we've got Phil Grussing. That's Phil in front of us there as well. That's who Turner's chasing down at the moment. Grussing's chasing down Pratt, but Pratt just motored. Gone. Britton got a penalty going into pit lane, I believe. That was where the speeding in pit lane penalty come in. They're just trying to go on the inside of Garrett Kinney at the moment. Kinney in the Aston Martin, of course. These guys are motoring through and trying to get through. Haywood and Becker are fighting, but they are a lap down compared to everybody else. You'd see Garrett Kinney there not doing it on purpose, just taking his line, but he got in front of Dan Turner. So that's allowed Grussing to motor away at the moment. Tom Weston is on a recovery. He's trying to come through the field currently at the moment. He's just cleared Alex Bell. Bell's tucked in behind him currently. Britton's trying to recover on that one. Then we got Caleb Parsons, who's leading the GT3 AMS. He's got Kaysen Collier in front of him. I believe Casey was in YouTube chat earlier. Let's go Kaysen there as well. Kaysen on that one. So he's got Caleb Parsons, the leader of the AMS, behind him. There's a spinner of an LMP2. I think that might be Tom Weston or Ian Coates. I think it might have been Coates that's just gone round at the back there.
There's been all sorts happening all over the place here in terms of incidents and accidents and spins. This is all three classes on screen together here. Ian Coates in the LMP2. A little bit offline himself, and then the Porsche getting into him there. The GTP Porsche. Oh, Sam Hager it has to be. Wasn't Chad Henson, who's still challenging Ian Knox for the race lead. But look how spread out it's got within 15 minutes here. This is the sort of race that we're going to see throughout a lot of this season. I read out the tracks in a row here, the 5 tracks in a row. This one followed by Adelaide, Kota, Manicourt, Indianapolis. None of those are the big sort of multi-class racing circuits. None of those are the big Grand Prix circuits. They're all very difficult, and this is the kind of race that we're going to see through this middle part of the season.
And this is why it makes this track so interesting. And when I saw, oh, blimey, Caleb, where you going, sunshine? That was a very, very close there from Caleb Parsons on that one. But this is why it makes this interesting. Partly due to the fact that Zandvoort and Multiclass don't go together. Look at the gaps on the left-hand side. It's really interesting, actually, because you get down to Smith in 6th, and he's a minute behind the leader. You go to LMP2, and a minute is Ian Coates, and then Stewart, a minute is Becker, and then further down you got it's Bartlett, I believe, is in pit lane. He's going to be a minute back, and Kinney and stuff like that. So they are minutes spread out, but with the fact that the lap's very short here, that minute is practically 3/4 of the lap for all classes. So it's going to make it interesting. Do you know the interesting thing I'm going to find out is who will be on the lead lap in their class, because there's already people laps down. So I'm interested to see who's going to finish on the lead lap.
Yeah, there might not be many at the end of 45 minutes here. There might not be many. Here's Gressing still in front of Turner and Kurt-Jan Polman. And obviously Sierra's not that far away either. You can see that 4th LMP2 right in the background of shot there as well. So these guys get through the middle sector now and head towards the final one. It's just going to settle down here a little bit. I mean, there's no sort of... We saw that first run through of traffic of those GTPs there coming through on the GT3s, and that was that was a very sort of busy time. But if you look at the track map in the top right now, look how spread out it is. There's not really going to be those moments again where there is loads of traffic all in one go. It's just going to be one car here and there for these prototypes to pass. So it's a little bit more manageable now, potentially. There will still be incidents, of course, given what the circuit is like, but it's going to be certainly more manageable than what we saw at the beginning of this race.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why this is going to be very, very interesting, I think, because the GTPs will hit traffic every lap now. There's not going to be a lap that they're not going to hit traffic for, and that's why this circuit is going to be very interesting to see how they go, because I think once they start the GTPs, they're not going to stop. So it's going to be difficult for them. The middle class, the LMP2s, is the one where we always sit back and go, they're going to be under pressure. Partly due to the fact they've got to look in front of them, they've got to look behind them because the GTPs are coming at them. They've got to look in front of them because they've got the GT3s to go past. So, yeah, there's going to be a lot going on, and I'm going to find this absolutely fascinating to see who can keep these cars on the circuit. We've only got one real true battle at the moment, and it is in the LMP2s. Pullman, Turner is trying to get hold of Grussing, who's just in front of us there on the right hand side. So yeah, there's still lots to play for here, and I'm really excited to see how this one pans out after the pit stops.
Yeah, of course there are always pit stops in this race, in this series. Just the one over the course of 45 minutes, a fuel limit ensuring that they do have to come in at some point in the day. As we've seen last time out at Monza when it was raining all the way through, pretty much. Even then, you can't make it without making a pit stop. In fact, you can't make it anywhere near. So, especially in the dry, you'll be having to. We go on board with Gert-Jan Polman here. Here's Gressing at the front. It is an interesting corner now, turn 3, although I don't like the fact that it's just it's pretty much one line through there now, as you mentioned earlier, trying to basically get as high up the banking as possible. It makes it feel like a bit of an oval there, but it is an unusual and unique corner, there's no doubt about that.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's the thing with that corner now. There's no second line. If you want to make an overtake, there is no second line. It's always just that one line, and you've got to try and get through here. So, yeah, it's such an interesting one.
Well, welcome back to Zandvoort, where we are just about halfway through the GNL Simsports Proto-GT Sprint Series race here from Zandvoort. Still, Ian Knox is leading just over a second in front of Chad Henson. That battle we were just seeing a moment ago there in the LMP2. Andy Pratt just leading by a way still. Gressing, Turner and Pullman still fighting it out. Matt Stewart still leads in GT3 Pro and Caleb Parsons still leads in GT3 AM as well. So still everybody where they were. Just myself in Louis James Parvitt with you here tonight for this race. Got to be thinking about pit stops at some point soon. Most of the field haven't stopped yet. For example, the front four in GTP. So there's still a very long way to go in this race, and still not a very big gap for Ian Knox at the front.
Yeah, no, he is. He's pulled away a little bit, mind you. He's 1.8 seconds at the moment. Cisco and Fisco in YouTube chat, black flags all over the place. Yes, but the interesting thing is they're all for pit entry. At the moment, Parker Enquist got his. He was heading into the pits as well. And I think Ian Coates was for incident limit. So they've got that. That's why their black flags are there, and that's why they should be clearing very, very shortly. So looking forward to seeing how they get on at the same time. Closest battle at the moment, Philip Grussing has still got Dan Turner tucked in behind him, and Caleb Parsons has been locked in behind Case and Collier for a very, very long time now, and is still locked in behind Case and Collier.
Indeed, it's what happens in these races sometimes, especially at circuits like this one. You can end up stuck behind somebody for a very, very long time indeed. Don't forget again in GT3 the points are given out based on where you finished overall in that category. So that's why you see a different championship look, especially in GT3 AM, as we were seeing a little bit earlier on. But this does matter for Caleb Parsons. If he were to be able to get past Case and Collier, then that's third place points rather than fourth place points. And so it is worth making this move if possible. Even though Caleb Parsons is leading by a long way in GT3 AM, still worth trying to make this pass for some points.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, why wouldn't you? As an AM, imagine the boost he's going to get by going, I passed Case and Collier in a pro. Do you know what I mean? He's going to get a big old lift there, and then people might sit back and go, I wonder how this is going to, for him, I wonder how for Parsons his ego is going to take this, because he's going to be like, ha, 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 I got through, you know what I mean? So, yeah, fair play to him, staying with Case and Collier and everything else. So he's got a good old run. Hopefully he should be having a good old go here at him as well. But Knoxie's got his own problems at the moment. Chad Henson tucked in right behind him.
Yeah, indeed. And this has been the case since the very start of this race. It's been more than 25 minutes now where Knox and Henson have been pretty much locked together. Henson, though, has not been able to find his way through just yet as they come up onto a little bit more traffic here. The Aston Martin just up in front at the moment. Actually staying out of the way there through the final turn. Now one of the Mustangs decides to stay to the right-hand side. Good job the prototypes don't need to come into the pit lane here, because they wouldn't have been able to. Down towards turn one, though, Henson just not close enough. And I didn't mention this at the beginning, but it did have potential to be one of the big factors here at Zandvoort about the difficulty in overtaking we can sometimes get around here. I thought the multi-class traffic would maybe get rid of that a little bit, but it seems it is still going to be very difficult.
Yeah, it looks like it is going to be difficult here as well, but he locked it in YouTube chat as theirs from Cisco. Looks like Chad is fine behind Knox because he's not made an attempt over Ian Knox yet. And that's the thing. And I do wonder whether or not Henson's just sat there fuel saving and seeing how he gets on here and how long he can take this, because they've only got 18 minutes to go. And that's what's going to make it interesting. It's going to be 18 minutes of Chad Henson, whether or not he's sat in behind Knoxie or whether or not he's going to be doing anything there either. Is he just going to follow him? At the moment, we seem to be having a manic blinking issue, which I'm going to try and resolve very quickly as well. But yeah, for Chad Henson, I think he's sat in a perfect place. I don't think he needs to worry too much.
Well, maybe if he is strategically working this one out, and he's going to be able to do this without having to even make a pass on the racetrack, then that might be the way to do it. Oh, that was close there. Knox tried to go to the inside of that McLaren there through the final turn just to knock off a bit of speed, but couldn't quite do it. That gives Henson a slightly better run, although Again, no chance at passing on the way towards turn 1. There's only just over 15 minutes to go, by the way, just over 17 minutes to go in this race, and so there isn't much time left for these guys to actually make this pit stop now to end this race at all. Let's see when they decide to come in, but as I say, that there really aren't many chances left now.
No, absolutely, and I think that's the thing. They've got to pick and be wise of when they're going to do it, and it's going to be difficult for Henson here. If he goes for it in the pit lane, then fair play to him. He's pulled an absolutely masterstroke, and he will try and have a go here and go through the pit lane and see if he can get in there. If he overcuts it, it's going to be absolutely incredible for Chad Henson. Fair play to him for having a go and trying to get through on that one. So hopefully he will try and clear him as quickly as possible.
Yeah, indeed. We'll try and see them in a moment. Sierra has come into pit lane, by the way. He's the last... he's coming for a second time, sorry. There's a lot of black flags in the midfield there, and that's the reason why he's come in, sorry. So, yeah, that makes sense. Dan Turner will also do the same here. So is it all incident points here, or are we seeing some speeding as well? I know that the pit entry here is a bit of a chicane on the way in, which can make it difficult, but you mentioned incident point for somebody earlier on, that they might be hitting the limit. So we have seen a lot of black flags here, and it isn't a very long race, so it's pretty surprising to see this amount of penalties.
Well, yeah, no, I think that's the thing. I think it is a yeah and no situation. You know, Dan Turner's got one. He isn't overly tough on incidents if you stay where you need to be. You know, it's like anything. You keep it between the white lines, you're not going to get incident points, right? But there is a couple that has been left with speeding in the pit lane, or as they've gone into the pit lane, they've got incident points. So maybe that's a lot of the problem here, is they just cannot manage to get into pit lane without any problems.
That's Garrett Kinney, by the way, in the GT3 Pros. Sorry, AMS rather. He's trying to chase down Rhett Noonan at the moment. Kinney came in at lap 5, so I'm not sure whether he will be able to make it to the end or not. I feel like he will. We do often see these very early pit stops that do still take it all the way to the end. If he can, then he will. Oh, there's a spin! Noonan spins right in front of Kinney. That's not Noonan, sorry. It's not Noonan. That's somebody else. That is Josh Taylor of the GT3 Pros. It was 4th position, but it was Josh Taylor of the other class, and he's going to be into an Austin Powers situation here in a moment. I'll never get that turned around. Here's what happened. I don't think there was any contact or anything with this LMP2. Maybe there was. No, LMP2 gets through fine. Just on a slightly different line. He's slightly wide in those stones, and there he goes. Kinney with a small bit of contact. It wouldn't have just... and that was Ian Knox, by the way, who slipped through there, I'm pretty sure. So Ian Knox was not far away from disaster either there.
Yeah, there was a couple of people very, very close to that at the same time here. Chad Henson has lost an absolute bucket load of time over Ian Knox. He must have had a drama. You can't just lose 11 seconds for no reason whatsoever. Oh, he's been off track.
I did think that gap was very large. Oh, it's that Corvette that got massively... and he's lucky to get away with just the spin that he's had there, Henson. That was big contact with that Corvette there, and he's lucky that the Porsche didn't hit the wall as well. Wow, he might not have gotten away without damage totally, but wow, he's gotten away with one there. That's exactly the same curve that Brandon Smith hit earlier when he was chasing Henson.
Yeah, and then straight over the bump, and then these guys, unfortunately, I don't know what's going on. I don't know why all of a sudden they've started flickering around all over the place. Unfortunately for Henson, the same bump. It was the same bump there. Cisco in YouTube chat said it's the same bump, and it was. They both went over the bump. Unfortunately, the Corvette got loose and straight into Henson, and Henson went round. Can it really... I was going to say, can it be blamed on the Corvette? Yes, it can, because it was his mistake, but he ain't going to know that the bump, it was going to do that to him, I guess. Now, if I was Henson, I'd have gone in pit lane.
Yeah, same. Yeah, I think that would have been the right call, just to sort of try and limit your losses in that situation. I mean, he's lost so much time that it might not matter anyway, really. With 13 minutes to go, it might not matter anyway. But I agree. I think that would have been the call there to come into pit lane and try and limit his losses from that spin. But that might well be it for the race lead. Ian Knox now has really got to focus on clean through traffic, and he should have enough to go on and win this race, as long as he doesn't also have a massive problem through his pit stop as well. It's easier said than done round here at Zandvoort, but he's very much in control of this race now.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's the thing for Noxie. He's just got to keep it on track, manage the traffic, make sure he can get through without any dramas. He has a 10-second gap on P3. Just consult P2. Yeah, Cisco says it right in YouTube chat. But if I was Henson, I still would have gone into the pits. In fact, I probably would have gone into the pits at the end of that lap that the incident happened. So the lap that we saw him coming past the pit lane, I would have dived in there.
Yeah, same here. Well, they carry on. So they're actually waiting for Stephen Laird as well in the GTPs to come into pit lane yet. Everyone... Sorry, go on.
They've only got a minute and a half before they come into 10 minutes left. I don't think they went into the pit lane while we were obviously dealing with the technical issue. I don't think they did.
No.
But
even those who did, I think, are still showing up as having their last pit stop in whatever time it was.
Yeah,
my timing screen doesn't seem to have reset totally. It's still holding that information. So I think I don't think they have been in yet.
No,
maybe they have. Yeah, I don't know.
It's difficult to know, isn't it? Because obviously we were away for a few minutes due to an OBS error. But yeah, I wonder if they already have gone in. I don't think they have. Holtborough has a great revive. Wasn't he last place at one point? Yes. I can tell you now he was last place. He spun right at the beginning and unfortunately ended up in the last place of the LMP2s.
But notice what he did. He pitted the very same lap when he had that spin. Yes, of course, he had probably more damage than what Henson has just had. But even so, he's come into pit lane. He's allowed his tyres to cool a little bit. He's gotten out of the traffic completely. And he's really made use of that early pit stop now. And he's back to fourth place. He's actually ahead of anybody else who we believe to have stopped so far. Maybe the top three have already stopped as well while we're away and they're at where they are. But yeah, Hopper Hazard made a good recovery here as Josh Taylor is about to show us how not to get into pit lane. There you go. That's how you get a speeding penalty.
Yeah, that is how you get a penalty. And I wonder if it's not even... I don't even think it might have been the speeding, Ewan. What I am interested in to see is the fact that he went and bumped the wall and went over the line. So let me try and just get that quickly. Watch on the right-hand side. There is a white line there. And I do wonder if, because he bumped the wall there and went over the line... yeah, I don't know. It could be a little bit of everything on that one, to be honest with you. But I'm wondering if that's where a lot of our penalties are happening, because as soon as these guys go into pit lane, there's a black flag. So I wonder if that line on the right-hand side that you would naturally almost cut is playing a part to the penalties. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not in the car and I'm not driving. But I can't see any other reason why you would get a penalty if you're not speeding.
I have a feeling that most of them have been speeding, to be honest. But there are strange things that happen with the white lines there on the way in. So maybe that is a potential reason as well. But you're coming from such high speed there because obviously the final corner these days is completely flat out with the banking that there is. And so you can come steaming in there. And the fact that you're sort of going round that chicane while you're braking, as Taylor showed there, makes it very, very difficult. So I have a feeling that just a lot of people have been speeding. And we always say it, you should practice coming into the pit lane a lot more than drivers actually do. Say it like we're broken records, but it is true. It's something that is so worth practicing and is just not practiced really by the majority of drivers.
Yeah, absolutely as well. Mounty, can you tell us who you are? Was dropped for internet connection. Now, obviously, we've had our own little internet issues with the spikes going on, which has caused people to blink. I wonder if that's why the issue is kicking in at the same time here, because it would be the first time my race has crashed on me this week, which has been horrible. But yes, it isn't the first time as well. So let us know who you are on that one. Grussing has got Brereton in front of it, which is the GTP Sam Hager. And he's now trying to chase down Andy Pratt up front. And I don't think he's going to get to Andy Pratt. Pratt's a long way there as well. Garrett. Oh, that's Garrett. So Garrett Kinney apparently got dropped for internet connection.
Okay.
I wonder if he's the only one. Oh no, he's back on the racetrack again. But I wonder if he's not the only one that's had that issue, because obviously we had that 5 minutes where just blinking went mental. So
Alex Bell seemed to have disconnected around halfway around lap 11.
yeah, he's gone as
race.
well. Yeah, it's interesting.
Javi Sierra's gone out. I think we're due to a normal crash or whatever at the moment. But he's another retirement. Damien Hayward's been in there for 12 minutes. Obviously another normal crash there as well. Taking him out of the race as well. He's still got a penalty to serve as well when he gets back out, if he gets back out down there, which I suspect he won't. But it does look like these guys did make pit stops while we were away then, in that case. 7 minutes to go. Well, Stephen Laird's in now, so maybe not for Knox and Henson. So we'll continue to keep an eye on this, but this is a pretty late stop for Stephen Laird now.
Yeah, it is only stop one, isn't it? I still don't think they've stopped, but maybe that's just, I don't know. As I say, maybe while we was away, they did go into the pit lane and get it done, and that's why they were so close together, because they were practically close together anyway. But as you say, Stephen Laird has only just gone in this race, and he's only got, what, six and a half minutes to go? Is it 6.5? Or my eyes deceiving me?
6.5 minutes,
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, so as they come up towards the line this time round, it'll be 5 laps to go for Ian Knox, who does now come into pit lane. So indeed, it has saved those pit laps properly. They haven't been in yet. They're coming in with 5 laps to go. It will not be very much in the way of fuel here at all for these drivers now. I'd imagine maybe 5-6 seconds, no much more. And Chad Henson's actually going to carry on. See how long the stop actually is for Knox here. Laird just spent 9 seconds in pit lane. Magnus Hope is not going to be that far behind because of the recovery that he's made. He's not going to get past Knox, who's on his way out already. And there he goes. And Hope's not even in the final corners yet. But don't forget, Henson's nearly 20 seconds behind Knox. So I think it could be quite close between Henson and Hope once the now race leader is going to come into pit lane in a moment.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I think that's the thing. Maybe we hadn't missed the pit stops and they hadn't actually pitted. So fair play to them. Damien Hayward's been in the pit lane for about 16 minutes, so I'm not quite sure what he's doing on that one. But Hayward has been in pit lane for quite a while. He has obviously broken something very severely, but that's not going to help Ian Knox whatsoever.
Well, no. He's still got a big lead here, but he's got to be careful. I mentioned it when he had that really big lead over Chad Henson in the first place. He's just got to keep it on the road and not make any mistakes, and he'll win this easily. But that's certainly not going to help there for Ian Knox. And Hope are now within 15 seconds of what should be the race leader here through the final couple of corners. Chad Henson is going to be pulling to the right-hand side here, surely. Or is he going to carry on again? Goodness me.
Is he
There's still
get
4 laps
end?
left. I mean, we always do this. We do this every time. Is anybody going to be able to get there with no pit stop? And in the end, nobody does.
But he fuel saved a lot, didn't he? Sorry to cut in, but he fuel saved a lot behind Noxie over that first half of the race.
He's not going to do it. I'm going to put, well, not that much money on it. But
how brave are you going to be?
No, I'm not going to put money on it, but I am confident. Let's put it that way. I'm very confident.
Yes,
he's not going to make it.
Said a YouTube chat, he was field saving, remember? And he was. Oh, this could be exciting. Weston's black flag, I believe he's in for incident limit, I think, on that one for Tom Weston. I can't see anything that relates to him going in pit lane at the moment. He got that black flag, so I'm going to put that down to incident limits where he's going to come in. But a little trick for anybody, if you're going in for incident limits and it gives you a stop and go or whatever it does, just remember to turn off anything. Your stop and go would go down from 45 seconds to about 2 seconds. Just a little tip.
Yes, indeed. Now, is Henson going to keep us on our toes for a little bit longer here? Or is he finally going to come in with 3 laps to go? If he does come in, by the way, it might bring it down to just 2 laps to go, depending on where Ian Knox is, but we'll cross that bridge if we get to it in the next couple of moments here. He has been fuel saving a lot in this race, but I personally don't believe he can fuel save that much, and indeed he can only go for 2 laps longer. He cannot go on for the extra 3 that he would need to win this race. So there you go, 3 minutes to go. He's into the pit lane, handing that lead over to Ian Knox. But is he going to hand over second to Magnus Hookbo here, who might well be the championship leader by the end of the day? It might well be Ian Knox. It won't be Henson, sorry. It might be Ian Knox, depending on where Hookbo ends up, I think. They'd be tied as it stands if Hogbo were to get to second. But let's wait and see here as Henson makes his pit stop. How long is it going to be? First of all, 10.9. That's the longest of anyone in the top 4 in GTP. Hogbo around the outside. And despite a spin on lap 2, Magnus Hogbo has recovered to second place.
And I'd like to point out, Chad Hansen just got that completely and utterly wrong. He is nearly 3 seconds slower than Ian Knox. He's 2.5 seconds slower than Magnus Holtborough in pit lane. And whatever has just happened to Chad Henson with his fuel, he has just made the biggest boo-boo of his life.
Oh, if he'd done his pit stop the same length as Hawkbow, he would have been ahead of him. So and that's not even the shortest pit stop. If he'd have done one as long as Ian Knox, he would have been a second and a half in front rather than a second and a half behind. So, yeah, he's made an error there, Henson, a miscalculation. But it's always difficult, isn't it, when you're coming in at this stage? Oh, and he's now made a spin. He's now spun, coming through the hairpin of turn 10. So it may not have mattered anyway. Or maybe he's just over pushing because he knows that he's down to third rather than in second where he feels he should be. But he broke too late for turn 10. I mean, it just looks like a horrible car to drive at that sort of low speed there where there's not much grip in the car. As Ian Knox comes over the line, by the way. Not sure whether that's going to be the last lap coming up now or not.
Oh, my apologies. I wanted to see if he changed tyres.
No, it's not. 2 to go.
Okay, cool. Can I have a look then and see whether or not he changed tyres? Because I've got a funny feeling that's where the problem lies here for Chad Henson.
I'd be very surprised, but you might be right.
That's a shocking camera view. Let's have a look at this. Did he go up on the jacks? That was a question in YouTube chat.
No, he just put a lot of fuel in there. I mean, he's put enough fuel in to do nearly 10, 12 minutes. Never mind 3.
Yep. He got that wrong. Chad Henson. Unfortunately, so it doesn't look like he did put tyres in there, Cisco, but unfortunately, he's made a boo-boo. Whatever, he made a boo-boo. His fuel calculations are off.
That's a big error, unfortunately, for Henson there. It's cost him second place here tonight, and in a championship that looks like it's going to be settled by very few points, that is going to be very costly. Knox and Hawkbow are going to be tied at the top of the championship at the end today, I think, looking at the current points, the way they are. Then it will be Henson next in line, then Brandon Smith, who is currently in 5th place, I think. Obviously, it depends what their drop week is and whatever, but anyway. Seconds are ticking away now for Ian Knox, and in fact, the checker flag is going to come out without a white flag. So there you are. Time elapses, and to everyone's surprise, including Ian Knox's by the looks of things, he's only just realised he's just won the race. He flashes the line after he's crossed the line, and he wins here in GTP. Now, where are the other class leaders? Well, Chris London is just coming into the final couple of corners at the moment in the GT3 AMS. He is currently 4th place overall in GT3, and of course ahead of Caleb Parsons, who's led most of this race, but Parsons' stop was 32 seconds in comparison to Chris London's 10, and London is able to take the GT3 AM victory here over the line as well. Just in the background again, Andy Pratt is going to take victory here in LMP2. He's won all 3 races now at the beginning of this GNR SimSport Proto-GT Sprint Series. What a start to the season for the Australian. Another victory in LMP2. And in GT3 Pro, his compatriot Matt Stewart is going to take victory here. He's got a few corners still to go, but he's going to take a great victory as well in GT3 Pro, and he's going to become the 3rd different winner in 3 weeks to take victory in GT3. He's not finished higher than 3rd yet this season, and he's going to do better than that with this victory here. So another different race winner in GT3 Pro after this race here at Zandvoort tonight. A busy multi-class race as we expected. When was this, by the way?
Britain got a black flag, and I just wanted to find out why. Now, I've got a funny feeling it's not for the entry. Well, it is, but watch him cut the white line on the left there. And I'm wondering if that's where it's kicked on. He's also cut the line on the right again. And I know Fisker said that white line shouldn't play a problem, but I don't know, that penalty that he got to stop and go, or a penalty for that as he went in as well. So yeah, whatever's been going on there, it's been causing problems on that pit lane entry. So yeah, on that one. But let's have a look at the results. We'll do it class by class.
Yeah, indeed. And we'll see Stuart Brighton at the bottom of these GTPs. Look at him, he was already last anyway. Ian Knox takes the victory in front of Magnus Hawkbo, and those two are going to be top of the tree in the championship, with Chad Henson not far behind. He's on the podium with Stephen Laird. Brandon Smith will be disappointed with 5th place. He came in today with the tied championship lead alongside Hawkbo. It is then Sam Hager and Stuart Brighton who were the others. They finished at least a lap down. LMP2 was won by 11 seconds for Andy Pratt, and wins again in this series. Philip Gressing ends up holding on to second in what was a big battle at the time with Gert-Jan Polwin. Tom Weston was in there as well. Dan Turner rounds out the top 5. Parker Enquist, 6th ahead of Ian Coates, Javi Sierra, Alex Bell. Those last two retiring fairly early on. GT3 Pro, Matt Stewart takes the victory, credited with an extra lap compared to the others because of where the leader was. Logan Magnus and Caton Collier weren't that far behind in reality, but Jay Becker and Josh Taylor were indeed at least one lap down. And in the GT3 AMS, Chris London with a 4th overall takes victory, only 9 seconds in front of Caleb Parsons, who'll be ruining that pit lane error. Randy Olivo gets a podium out of Chase Sawyer. Rhett Noonan ends up on the lead lap and in the top 5. Reece Bartlett 1 lap down, Garrett Kinney 2 down. Damien Hayward retired from that race with 13 laps still to go. Ian Knox, he is there, and we can bring him in for a quick chat now at the end of the race. Sorry to grab you, Ian, from the big group. Congrats though on the race victory here tonight at Zandvoort. It was yourself and Chad Henson at the front for a long time in that race there, just running nose to tail. Just what did you think of the situation at the time there when it was just you two at the front with sort of 15, 20 minutes or so gone? How did you view the situation at that stage when it was just the two of you at the front of the field there?
To be honest with you, I was just hoping to get some luck once in one of these races. So I did, and it was good.
Well, you could describe it as luck if you want. I mean, this is a race victory eventually that has come out of you making sure that you didn't make any errors for the most part over the course of the day, and everybody else did at some point. I mean, was that the big focus for you coming into tonight? Just make sure that you keep it on the racetrack, basically, which is more than what the others were able to do for the most part today.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, Tommy still kicked me off at the end there, so I had to finish with damage. But yeah, just trying to make sure that I was clean through the traffic and just, yeah, I mean, every single one of these races up until now, something's gone wrong. And I was just trying to not have something go wrong. That was it. But Chad gave me a good race. He's a really good driver, and it was a nice race. And I always know that he's fuel saving, so I had to make sure that I managed that. But I think he got caught up in a bit of an accident with the GT3. So I think I got a touch of luck, and yeah, just tried to make sure we got to the end.
Yeah, well, congratulations on taking that race victory here tonight, Ian. Thanks for coming to chat to us at the end of the race as well.
Thanks, boys. Good job. Appreciate it.
Cheers. Thanks very much. That's Ian Knox, the winner overall here tonight.
Before we grab Andy Pratt, Frisco is after. Could you ask Andy how traffic management was in the LMP2, please?
Okay. Yeah, fine. We'll chat. I'm trying to work out how to move him. Here we go. We'll have a chat about all things after the end of the race. Andy, welcome in. Good to have you with us. Congratulations on another LMP2 victory, 3rd of the season already. I mean, first off, just tell us how you're feeling after the first 3 weeks. I mean, you must be. This must have exceeded your expectations for this season already.
The first 2 races did. I knew going into this one that it was probably likely, with Vigard not racing, that it would probably be uncontested for me.
I mean, did you still not feel you had any other challenges in the field? Because it was, I suppose you were out front the whole time, but you felt pretty confident coming into tonight.
Yeah, I'd already looked at everyone's times in Garage 61, so I kind of knew where everyone was at pace-wise. And I'd done a practice with a couple of them, so I knew that they were going to be like half a second to a second off pace compared to me. So,
oh, listen to the confidence.
I know.
Andy, blinking out, Nora Sunshine.
No, yeah, I don't know. I just looked at it and saw the data, so it's kind of, yeah. I was hoping Vigard would magically show up for the race, so I'd have someone to battle, but onto the next race, and hopefully he's there for that one.
Well, indeed. I mean, you did have things to do. I mean, the traffic here today was always going to be a point of contention here. Zandvoort, by far the tightest track we've been to so far, even when you compare it to Watkins Glen. What was traffic management like, letting the GTPs through in an LMP2 while also passing GTs as you have to do in the class?
Yeah, so I just took my time. Just waited a couple of corners, set up an exit so I'd get past the GT3s so I wouldn't have to worry too much, and they could try and be a little bit more consistent, not have to worry about me diving them. And then the GTPs, I pitted when first place was 3 seconds off me, so I avoided the first 3 of them.
Well,
so I didn't have to worry about them at all.
Oh, congratulations on sort of working all that out properly and getting to the race victory, of course, tonight, Andy, as well. Thanks for chatting to us at the end of the race as well.
No worries.
Cheers. Thanks very much, Andy Pratt, the winner in LMP2, chatting to us there. Matt Stewart wins in GT3 Pro and joins us now as well. Matt, welcome in. Congratulations all on a GT3 Pro victory tonight. Tell us how that race was for you. For us, it looked pretty quiet for you out front. Looked like you controlled that race for some time.
Yeah, look, I did build quite a bit of a lead there. I think it might have been due to some traffic because I know Logan's definitely got some pace there. But no, I really enjoyed it. I like this track, and it's a good car track combo this week for the McLaren. I see a few of the other tracks in the calendar, a lot of straight line tracks. So I'd say the Mustang will have me there. But yeah, no, it was good race. Pretty eventful with the traffic. It's good. Yeah.
This is the third different winner now in GT3 Pro of the season so far, and the points are just being updated as we speak, but it has you at the moment 3 points behind Logan Magnus, who will take the championship lead. Just tell us how this first few weeks of the season has been with 3 different winners in 3 rounds.
Yeah, the first round at Watkins was pretty good. Had some good battles on track, bit of respectful racing. Round 2 was pretty messy in the wet. I got taken out lap 2, turn 1, but this race is definitely a good one. So yeah, we'll just look forward to the next round.
Indeed, we'll see you at the next one. Of course, coming up at Adelaide in 2 weeks. Thanks for chatting to us tonight, Matt, and congratulations again.
Awesome, cheers, guys.
Thanks so much, Matt Stewart, the winner in GT3 Pro, in front of Chris London, who wins in GT3 Am. Thought I couldn't see him for a moment. He is there, and we can chat to him now as well. Chris, welcome in. Sorry to grab you from the big group. Congratulations on taking the win, though, in GT3 Am tonight. I mean, Caleb Parsons was leading for a long time here tonight, but his stop was 22 seconds longer than yours. Were you surprised when he came out the pit lane there, the pit stop cycle, and came out in the lead?
MP1 Ams? No, I'm just joking. I was no, I mean I definitely looked after the pit stop and I was like, oh my god, I'm in P1 Ams. Okay, cool, that's great. What happened? I was like, did he crash? What's up? But I kind of understand the temptation to take tires here because at the end of my at the end of the race, I was losing probably about a half a second to a second a lap just because of the heat and the tire deg and everything on that front left. But I understand it. I got lucky on the tactical call. It definitely could have been worse, but I just don't think the race was long enough for it to pay off.
Well, exactly. That was going to be my next question, really, because this season all the races are 45 minutes in length. We don't have an enduro like we did last season, for example. And this is one of the twistier, sort of more high tyre wear circuits, I think you'd say. So is that tyre call ever going to be a factor really in this series, or is this going to be a point for everyone in GT3 that where, now everybody's going to use the same set of tyres for the end of the race, you think, because of the short races that we have?
It's definitely going to be one set of tires. I mean, Zandvoort is notorious as a high tire wear track, right? Like the track surface is really gritty. It's like sandpaper, and the way you drive the car around here is very much like on a slide, right? For most of the corners, like you have to keep the car very rotated, and just because of that, and this track surface is going to destroy your tires. I think if anywhere it'd be Zandvoort because you just start losing pace so much through the front left. So I just think it's going to be keep your tires, do your fuel right,
Yeah. Well, absolutely. I mean, congrats on getting that strategy call right here tonight at Zandvoort. And thanks for chatting to us at the end here tonight as well.
Of course, man. Thank you guys so much for putting this on.
Thanks very much, Chris London, the GT3 AM winner here tonight from Zandvoort. That was a very interesting discussion at the end there, James. I've got to say, I wasn't expecting that to be sort of a... I mean, we haven't chatted to Caleb Parsons, of course. Maybe we'll find out in the week that it was an error on his part and he forgot to not take tyres, which is definitely possible. But interesting that some of the GT3 drivers were looking into maybe taking tyres here because of the high tyre wear around here at Zandvoort. You can't take fuel and tyres in this series given the rule set that we've got. That's why his stop was 32 seconds rather than 11 or so, which is what it was for Chris London. And he was losing time definitely towards the end there, but it's pretty clear that that tyre call cost Parsons the race, really. It wasn't a penalty, I don't think, because he just clipped that line on the left there, but he slows it down in time. Yeah, it was, and it's not long enough to be a penalty either. So it was definitely tyres for him, and a very interesting call. But as we were discussing there with Chris, I doubt we'll be seeing that again this season.
No, I don't think we will be, to be honest. I think the track temps play a part in that. Have you noticed something?
Well, that's very broad.
There's specific thing that has happened tonight.
No.
No? This is the first time over the first 3 rounds that we have had 3 Australians win 3 classes. GTP, LMP, and GT3 Pro.
I hadn't noticed because, to be honest, the Australians have been doing quite well anyway in the last few weeks.
But I believe this is the first time they've taken the win in all 3 classes.
Yeah, you might be right. I mean, Andy Pratt's obviously been a one getting a win every time far this season.
Because, Pratt, Magnus Hulkborough won Monza, Logan Magnus won Monza, and Caleb Parsons won Monza. And then in round 1, Brandon Smith won in GTP, Pratt won in LMP, Secklin won in GT3 Pro, and Randy Olivo won in GT3 AM. So, yeah, the first time ever that 3 Australians have taken 3 class wins. Fair play to them.
Well, first time they've taken more than 1. By the sounds of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, this season anyway. So, very good job from them. Andy Pratt's been dominating in LMP2. Ian Knox starting to make some moves in GTP. He's now the tied championship leader as expected with Magnus Hulkberg, by the way. Andy Pratt, for his part, 11 points ahead in the championship there. Logan Magnus is still 3 points in front of Matt Stewart, who's really involved now, the other Australian involved up in that championship now. And 7 points the gap for Caleb Parsons, who, despite that tactical error today, still leads the championship there in front of Garrett Kinney and Randy Olivo, who are tied for second. Obviously, we'll have the full points breakdown for you coming on 2 weeks' time when we go racing next in the GNL Simsport Proto-GT Sprint Series this season. Adelaide is the venue on July 31st for the next round of the championship. Make sure you join us back here in 2 weeks. This is a fortnightly series, of course, so come back in 2 weeks' time for the next round of this championship. Obviously live on the JPB YouTube channel, as always. I've been Neil Leary alongside James Parfitt here in the commentary box tonight. We'll be back in Adelaide in 2 weeks' time. We'll see you then. It's goodbye for now.